Follow the money. The biggest shift in crypto history is happening right under your nose as institutional exit liquidity flows directly into Base, and now another corporate chain, Robinhood Chain. Coinbase's Base just launched their new token standard, B20. Robinhood launched their own chain, Robinhood Chain. And of course, we've got updates over at CoinWins.app where you can get brand new indicators. We've got a new one here and it's for events. We'll get to that once we actually get to more charts in a moment. Take a look at what actually B20 standard unlocks. It's quite fascinating, but it does have some implications that would suggest more and more inflows coming from institutions, more and more capital controls, more and more corporate chains. As you notice, Robinhood and Coinbase, these are pretty big apps. These are corporations, and the age of corporate chains is absolutely upon us. Let's hear what Jesse Pollak has to say, the builder #1 on Base, before we dive in a little bit deeper.
So we just launched the B20 token standard on Base, and I wanted to break that down for folks. The B20 token standard is like the ERC20 token standard, but it's Base specific, and it's built directly into the chain. And this unlocks a few things. First, it's cheaper and much more performant. You're going to be able to send and swap at a much lower cost, and we're going to be able to scale the chain so that we can do tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of B20 transactions per second. The second thing is that it unlocks a lot more capabilities. And so there's a bunch of stuff built into the token standard. This is stuff for more enterprise issuers, like compliance and policies that enable securities to come on chain, enables bonds to come on chain, enable basically anything to come on chain and have all the tools that they need out of the box. But it also unlocks a bunch of stuff for other kinds of issuers, like meme coins or creator coins or app coins.
So the capabilities are built directly into the chain itself. So for smart contracts, you don't have to upload the same information every single time. This is pretty good. It's actually pretty fascinating, but there's a bigger trade going on here, and it's not to necessarily ape into every single B20 ticker there possibly could ever be. No, it's a little bit more about being a little more strategic. So the real trade is watching who uses B20 first. Regulated stablecoin issuers, tokenized stock, RWA, real world asset platforms, Base native launch tools, payment tokens. Of course, we've been dealing with Agentic payments, X402. Okay, so creator community tokens, perhaps projects that want native fee payments later. There's a lot going on with B20. So join us in the community for more. And you can see there's an exchange already. There's of course lots of tooling going on, but you can see Coinbase Ventures, has come on board to make sure that there are trading tools available from day one. Very fascinating. I kind of like it, but I'm a little, like I said, concerned about these ideas of this world of corporate chains. And if we look at the Coinbase stock itself, it's actually not in the best position. It's not terrible. But when we look at the Hood stock, it's a little bit of a different story. It's looking a little bit more bullish. As you see again, the Coinbase stock looks like it's, about to see some lower lows. We got a lower low right here, a little bit lower. This on the weekly, we're probably going to go down, but then you see a different story with Hood. The chart looks a little more bullish. And we're not exactly sure where this is going to lead into the future, but if this is a trend, it's probably likely that Coinbase is going to still have to cool off a little bit more. But so as we see Robinhood, there are so many updates that have come from Robinhood since they launched. We might get to the point where we're kind of wondering, why Robinhood Chain and Base Liquidity are absorbing institutional Bitcoin exit liquidity. So the idea is that institutional capital seeks frictionless exits, yet we're going to see essentially more and more liquidity pools on Robinhood and Base absorbing these massive Bitcoin outflows through sophisticated market making structures. Now, when it comes to market making, of course, we understand that there's a pattern. We're looking for the right timing, and of course, we're looking for the right levels, all within the charts. We do look at the Bitcoin halving cycle as well. That's critical to this particular market. So we must break down, kind of how the systematic capital rotates into these low latency environments. Just look at how many partnerships have come for this particular Robinhood chain. But let's dive in a little bit deeper into Robinhood, and you'll see that they actually even also have agentic trading, agentic credit cards. There's no escaping the AI boom. How are they being integrated, and what are we using them for to make our lives better and essentially to make us more money? That's a lot of what we're here for. But the technology to streamline, to increase our output and so forth. But let's look at the Bitcoin chart. understand that I still have targets below price. I think this is more of a gray area. We've already come into the top of my buy zone, which was at about 59,000. And so I still have more liquidity below price. And I'm anticipating that we go possibly into the 30s, which is totally fine. When I say 30s, I mean 30,000. But I'm totally welcome to start to build positions in Bitcoin in the $50,000 range. So while retail investors panic over institutional Bitcoin sell-offs, the smartest money in the room isn't actually leaving the ecosystem. We know how to look on chain to find new assets, new ecosystems, new opportunities. So they're quietly rotating their capital into these chains like Robinhood and Base to fill up these liquidity pools to avoid slippage. There's sophisticated market making structures that allow these whales to exit Bitcoin without crashing the market. But when you get in early, it's what makes it a lot easier. I definitely recommend everybody come over to CoinWins.app, check out the charts. We've got lots of indicators that are useful, and one that we actually put out just recently is an indicator that shows you some of the most market moving news events. And as you see right here, we've got the events indicator turned on. Oftentimes the market maker uses this as an excuse to move price. It's not a guarantee that price goes up or down during any of these news events. However, it's highly likely that a news event of this caliber is going to move price up or down, and sometimes bullish news does the exact opposite of what you would expect it to do or what you might think it does. And that's why we stay ahead of the game and we stay focused. So definitely join us at CoinWins, follow the liquidity, follow the market makers' moves, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. All the best, and let's win together.